Iraqi and enduring freedom. Now, during the flight, he's going to experience G-forces from -3 to 8 times the normal force of gravity as he maneuvers the aircraft to the edge of its operating envelope. And today's show will be performed at speeds as fast as 700 miles an hour and as slow as 100 miles an hour. Many of the maneuvers you will see here today demonstrate the aircraft's capabilities in the tactical arena and are employed during combat and training flights. Now, the Super Hornet is unique in its ability to operate at slow speeds and high angles of attack. Observe now as the aircraft will enter the show from show right for the flat pirouette. Lou, the pilot today, actually began his career as an enlisted member of the Navy in August of 1996. Went through training to become a helicopter rescue swimmer, and after accumulating 1,000 hours in the SH-60 Seahawk, he was picked up for a commissioning program where he became a naval officer. Flight school, he hit his fleet tour with VFA-2, the bounty hunters, where he flew in the skies of Iraq and Afghanistan in support of OIF and OEF. Now watch as the aircraft begins coming on the backside for the flat pirouette. Look at the nose rotate around as he is able to point the gun in a tactical manner at any adversary that would dare to threaten him. The Super Hornet's engines produce over 44,000 pounds of thrust in full afterburner, and this allows the aircraft to sustain 8 times the force of gravity in a turn radius of under a quarter mile, 1,500 feet. Watch now for the min radius turn. Findlay is now setting up for a high-speed pass to an idle vertical climb. During this maneuver, the aircraft will approach you at nearly Mach 1, the speed of sound. And watch how he uses the speed as a surprise for the enemy. You may notice a little bit of white vapor coming off the Super Hornet, indicating it is close to the speed of sound as that shock wave begins to build up on the nose. Keep in mind, the speed at which he's flying is only half of the aircraft's capability. Only half. As he passes in front of you, Lou will pull the aircraft into the vertical and quickly point the jet back at the Earth. All right, eyes wide as the Super Hornet approaches, accelerating towards the speed of sound. Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Hornet high-speed pass. Well, I can hear the car alarms going off now. Now Lou's locking his shoulder harness as he prepares for his next maneuver, the vertical pirouette. Entering the maneuver at 350 miles an hour, he will pull the jet into the vertical and roll the canopy towards the crowd. Selecting full afterburner as the airspeed slows through 200 miles an hour, Lou will perform a push-pull maneuver and set up for the vertical pirouette. This maneuver requires the aircrew to experience a very uncomfortable -3 Gs. Watch how the aircraft squats in and rapidly points back towards the ground. Hornet is a different aircraft than the F-18C that you would see fly with the Blue Angels. So they look almost identical. The easiest way I've found to tell them apart is look at the air intakes. The C models have the round ones, and the E model and the F model, the newer Super Hornets, have these square or rectangular air intakes. Now Lou is setting up for a maneuver known as a square loop. You're taking a barnstormer loop, but you're going to square the side to build it into 4. And Lou's going to do that today as he rapidly repositions the nose 4 times while flying a square path through the sky. So from the left, as he builds the bottom of the square, just like for the afterburner, take that nose into the vertical. Side of the square loop. Now when the Super Hornet was redesigned, they could advantage of the legacy Hornets, although it is 22% fewer structural parts on the aircraft. They really took advantage of computer design to make the aircraft easier for the maintenance crews and give it more performance. It truly is a 4.5 generation aircraft, nearly stealth invisible when it is not loaded up with bombs. It is an incredibly invisible aircraft on the radar. Now very shortly from the right, Lieutenant Findlay will accelerate the aircraft to 450 miles an hour at a height of 500 feet off the El Centro floor. As he approaches the show center, Lou will roll the aircraft inverted and bring the power to idle in what we call the inverted whisper pass. Take a look from the right as he takes it inverted, the inverted whisper pass. Of course, the unmatched capabilities of the FA-18 have made it very, very popular with other aircraft, with other countries, and many are looking at it. As a matter of fact, Australia's Air Force just went operational with their Super Hornets 15 months ago. Compared to the Legacy Hornet, the aircraft, the Super Hornet carries 33% more fuel, giving it 40% more range and 50% more endurance. Now take a look for the left as Lieutenant Lou Findlay sets up for the high alpha pass. When we're talking about high alpha, we're talking about the relationship of the aircraft flying across the ground versus how high the nose is. A very slow speed maneuver. This maneuver will showcase the incredibly slow speed handling characteristics of the Super Hornet. These guys love to get adversaries into a slow fight because they can really take the turn to them and take the fight to them. Now sometimes the aircraft with the ability to fly slowest will have the advantage in air-to-air combat. Very few other aircraft in the world would even attempt to maneuver this slow speed and nose-high attitude. This 30,000-pound aircraft remains completely controllable at less than 100 miles an hour, with 2 digital flight control controllers aiding the pilot. Believe me, it's amazing as that is to have more capabilities with their showing us there. As you will see, he'll light the afterburners and accelerate the aircraft right out of the vertical at 3,000 feet. Lieutenant Findlay will demonstrate the incredible pitch authority of the Super Hornet. Approaching show center, he'll roll the aircraft into a 90-degree angle of bank and abruptly pull away from the crowd. And Legacy Hornets on static display. As I'm looking over there to the show right, I see Lou taking the aircraft back around the back and side of the corner marker there. As he accelerates the aircraft up, get your cameras ready. He's going to come by for the final photo pass from right to left. Now the job of a naval aviator is not complete until the aircraft is back on its floating home, the carrier. And landing on board a tiny moving runway in the middle of the ocean is a skill that has been continuously perfected throughout naval aviation history. The approach to the carrier is often the most dangerous part of a naval aviator's mission. Landing an aircraft at 130 miles an hour on a few hundred feet of floating steel is extremely challenging, as you can imagine, and it is also a matter of great pride amongst the pilots and crews. Now you're going to see the aircraft approach from show left at high speed, simulating it would approach the carrier, coming over the top and enter the 360 maneuver to slow itself down and put the landing gear down. Even when they're here at El Centro, that is where they get their precision, time after time again. Radial engine. The courageous efforts of naval aviators changed the course of the Pacific War in World War II, playing decisive roles in the ballet. Quite a testament not only to their survivability and durability, but to how well these aircraft have captured people's imaginations. And Lieutenant Farrell, also in McLovin, is our other diplomat pilot, as he takes off to run down the Bearcat. Also has a bonanza in his hangar. Get those cameras up and take a look to the right. The beautiful formation pass. The F-8F Bearcat and the F-18E Super Hornet. Good shot you'll see here. Quite a difference in the look between the old and the new, and very nicely flown formation there by McLovin there and the Hornet on the wing. As McLovin and Mother took the aircraft back behind us, here they approach. From our 6 o'clock, take a look for another right over the center show pass. Most of the early aircraft flown by the military were tail dragger aircraft. And McLovin saying hello to the crowd with a high-speed carrier brake.